Hey y'all, so don't compromise, okay? I just got the full revelation on this. Um, Now, the word I'm posting before this about let them have their free will, if you have not seen that, watch that first because this will make more sense. Um, but I had a dream last night, and so at this point in my journey, y'all have seen me get on and complain about my spouse and my situation, how, you know, I have spoken the things I've had to speak, right? I've planted seeds that I've had to speak, even when it wasn't easy, even when I faced rejection, even when I faced all the things that I faced, I still had to plant the seeds and be obedient, right? Now, at this point in time, not just me, there's others, my friends going through the same thing. God is calling some of us to step back and allow them to have their free will. We've done all that we can do. We've been obedient. We've done everything that God has told us to do. And now it's time for God to intervene and do the work that's necessary, right? And we have to step back. And in Redeeming Love, in the movie that I watched over the weekend, right, Gomer went back for the last time. Hosea kept coming and saving her out of this place of prostitution, right? This bondage that she was in. God had him go back and save her multiple times from this bondage, or at least attempt to get her out of it, right? But she continued to go back. Now, this also represented like the enemy, right? So when someone's in bondage with something so deep, they're basically prostituting themselves for the enemy. They're working for the enemy, is gaining benefit off of them. I've had a dream about this. I don't want to speak the dream because it was very okay. But the revelation off of it was the same revelation I got while watching the movie. When you're stuck in bondage with the enemy, you're not creating wealth or profit for God's kingdom. You're literally, the enemy is over here making profit off of you. Okay. And so when you try to escape bondage, what happens is the enemy, and I saw this in Ruth and Boaz too, the movie, if y'all watch the movie that Tyler Perry came out with recently, like Ruth was trying to escape that bondage she was in with the enemy, right? This counterfeit lifestyle. And the enemy kept trying to follow her, just like Pharaoh did too. Like Pharaoh didn't want to let go. The enemy, when you start trying to escape bondage that you've been in with so long, and he's no longer profiting off of you, he's going to come after you and try to keep you bound to that as much as he can. And so when a lot of these spouses, they've been in this bondage that they need serious help with. They can't do it on their own. But also you're not Captain Sava, you know. God has had you plant seeds, but you are not God. You're not going to be able to, God has used you for a time, but now, he may be calling you to step back this time and step back. And just like Gomer Hosea had to wait for Gomer for 3 years. In the movie, God finally released him from going back to save her. The last time she left, God was like, not this time. And Hosea literally said, like, she has free will. But he never turned away from waiting on her. He never took his eyes off of God, right? He took care of the land. He took care of the things while she was away, right? But he stayed committed to her because that's what God had him, instructed him to do. So that's what he did. He was obedient, and it was hard for him, right? He was heartbroken, but he trusted God, and God did what he said. He brought her back. She came back home, right? So you have to trust in this time that God is going to bring this person back to you in his timing, like when it's supposed to happen, right? This person's going to have to go off and wander, in their wilderness season, right? They're going to have to go through this on their own. But you cannot compromise. Okay. So as of recently, over the last few days, I have been seeing people pop up that look like my spouse. I have been seeing some things, and I've started to entertain the idea because of the way things look, and because God has allowed this thing to become dead. Like, it's like a dead end at this point, and I feel the disconnect, right? More than I ever have. And for a couple days, I was entertaining the thought of some things, right? And my friend spoke to me this morning, and it was exactly what God was showing me. So about not compromising. And then I had a dream last night. I had a dream last night that there was a prophetic voice here on YouTube, and this person was trying to get me to entertain. I was in the bed, not doing anything, just having conversation with it was like a dykish person, right? Which God has used like lesbians and trannies and whatever in my dreams in the past to represent counterfeit, something that it's not, right? So that represented counterfeit, and I was entertaining, like conversating with a counterfeit. I was laying down in the bed, but not doing anything. It was nothing like that, right? With a counterfeit. And it was a prophetic voice that had persuaded me to do this. Now, I was watching a few prophetic live videos last night with someone that God led me to not watch anymore. I used to tithe, but then God had me stop tithing at a certain point. And it's because there's a lot of pride there. And now I know this person hears from God, but I know this person also struggles with pride. And this person will hype you up and make you think, I don't need this person. I'll go. If you can't do it, someone else will, and all this stuff. And I started thinking this, like, it started, getting me in a mood. And that's the dream I had last night. Like, if you cannot, the light went out, you see. There's darkness in that. I think that was intentional. So don't compromise. Compromise meaning do not accept standards that are lower than is desirable. Don't go off just entertaining somebody, right? Because because you're not being submitted to God's timing on this person. Just because you can't have them right now, don't go off and compromise and accept standards that are lower than like what your worth is, right? You know your worth, and don't compromise yourself and your standards and your worth because you want something and you want it now, right? You want God's best. You want what God has for you. So you need to wait on it. Don't go lay down with the enemy. Don't go, because that's what you're doing. If you're laying down with a counterfeit, if you're entertaining a counterfeit, you're entertaining the enemy. You're in bed with the enemy. Don't do it. Don't compromise, okay? And you're breaking covenant when you do that. When you entertain counterfeits, when you entertain even the thought, right? You're breaking covenant with God and with his will for you, okay? Don't do it. Don't do it in this season. God has some things for you that he's doing within you, and this person's going on their free will journey, okay? But that doesn't mean that they're not coming back. If God said that's your person, then that's your person. They're coming back, and you have to trust God in that. But God is going to have you, do things. You need to sit down right now and like seek him on the things that he wants you to do in this season while you're waiting, right? Because there's an elevation happening. He's trying to elevate you. He's trying to catapult you into your destiny and into, there's things that he wants to bless you with. There's things that he wants to produce through you before this person, while this person's over here doing their thing, right? And it's in God's hands. It's in God's hands, and you have to trust it. So don't compromise. And there is justice, right? God's stirring up the dust. There is justice that is taking place. You're going to be vindicated. You're being vindicated, right? There's justice happening, but it's a process. So submit to the timing and don't go off. don't go off entertaining counterfeits and such. If it's not what God promised you, if it's not that person, don't compromise. Okay, just because you don't like the timing, you feel like things are supposed to happen now. Because that's something I noticed about this prophetic voice is when you, I'm not gonna say who it is. That's not me. Y'all have to be discerning though. When you're watching people, y'all have to be able to discern when someone's speaking out of pride, when someone, right? You got to know that you know that you know that you know. But this person, a lot of this pride comes, they're kind of encouraging entertainment for counterfeits due to not being able to submit to God's timing, right? Just because you want a thing and this person's not got it together at this moment in time doesn't mean that you got to have something now. Simply, if God wanted you to have something now, you would simply have it, right? You don't have to go out searching for what God has for you. It will come to you. So don't go out searching for counterfeits. And, you know, the enemy will throw counterfeits at you too without you even having to look, right? But don't entertain the idea of someone else just because it's not in your timing. It's all in God's timing. And if he spoke a thing to you, then he spoke that to you. He doesn't just speak a thing to you and then tell you, well, they didn't get it together in my time, so I'm going to throw somebody else at you now. Like, that's not how that works. It's God's timing. God doesn't even, he's not even in time, y'all. He is time, okay? We're down here in time, but like he lives outside of time. So, you know, a day to us is like a day to God is like 1,000 years to us. So we got to just submit to the timing, okay? But he doesn't expect you to just sit up like a damsel in distress, right? Just waiting on this person for everything to fall into place. No, he wants to do things in you and with you in the meantime. So step into purpose, right? Start seeking the things that he wants you to do right now in this time, because it's open door season. Those doors are open. And he is just waiting for you to step through them, right? But you've got to get in your space, seek him out, seek him for instruction, fast if you have to. I think it's a great time right now to be fasting and to be staying consecrated so that you can get those instructions and guidance and direction that you need. And keep your heart aligned with his heart. And so that way your heart doesn't get hardened in this process. But I'm just telling you, justice is here, vindication is here, and don't go off entertaining counterfeits because it's going to get you in trouble. You're breaking covenant with God when you do that, okay? He said what he said, and he meant what he said, and it's all in his timing, y'all. So yeah, I pray this blesses y'all. I pray it gets to who it needs to get to at the right time. And if y'all feel led to sow, my information is always there in the description box. I pray that God bless you guys in return for those seeds that are sown. I pray y'all have a blessed rest of your day, and I will see y'all in my next video whenever that may be.